there's an article that came out a couple days ago. I did a video talking about it where it was from the Wrap. They said that the budget was about $225 million for Superman. But now, Hollywood Reporter releases an article today, and in the article, they say that the marketing budget is around $200 million, and that the production budget for Superman was around $360 million itself. They leave out many things when it comes to what they're talking about here. I'm not saying the Hollywood Reporter is wrong, because those numbers could very well be right. But they leave out many factors, such as the tax breaks that they can get on the marketing. When it comes to marketing, you get tax breaks on it. And that tax breaks usually works out to being, because you get state tax breaks, federal tax breaks. I mean, you're looking at, they're probably, out of that $200 million that they spent, they'll probably save like $50-60 million. That might even be on the high end. So let's just say the $200 million that they spent on marketing, let's just say that's really like 140, 50 million dollars on marketing, because after the tax breaks, that's what they're spending. And then on the production side, they don't include the tax incentives they get, the tax breaks they get for going and shooting in certain places in the country and the world, plus any bonuses that they get for going and shooting in certain areas. And that can drastically take it down from that 380 or 360 all the way down to 225 easily. That is a possibility. Now, I still don't agree with that 360 that they're saying, because James Gunn has shot that down. And I don't fully agree with the 225 either. I still think that could still be inaccurate with what the actual budget is. I wouldn't say that it's outrageous. I could say, yeah, that could be accurate. I could see 225 being right, but I could also see it being a little lower and even maybe a little higher. But I don't fully agree with it. But there's people who are sitting there trying to say, oh, this movie now needs to make $900 million. It needs to make $1.5 billion. It needs to make $1 bajillion to be successful or to make a profit. No, it doesn't. If we take the numbers as they are here, okay, as what the Hollywood Reporter is reporting on, if you take the 400 and the 300, or not the 400, I'm sorry, the 200 and the 300, you're going to get some outrageous 500 and some odd $1 million budget. That's not how much the movie cost. First off, we know that 360 is inaccurate. So that goes down to around 200. And like I said, you get that tax breaks and the tax incentives off of the marketing. That takes it down quite a bit itself. You're looking at a movie that cost less than $400 million, most likely, to make. Maybe $400 million. Maybe. Even then, you're looking at a movie that needs to make like 700 to 740 to start being profitable, which is what I've been saying is quite possibly what this movie is going to make, if not more. So all these people who are sitting there trying to say, oh, it's got to make this much, it's got to make $1 bajillion or what have you, they're all talking out of their ass is what they're doing. And it's all poppycock is what it is. I just truly believe that people want to bash this movie any way they can, when in reality, there's not a lot of real information that we have. This specific article here is just like, we're hearing this from this source tells us this source tells us that. None of this is actual information. And that's what I've been trying to say from the very beginning. Any of this information we get, yeah, I'll sit here and play with the numbers all day long and tell you, if it's this number, this is what it means. If it's this number, this is what it means. But in the grand scheme of things, we don't know what the actual numbers are. But also, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter one iota what the numbers are. Because DC Studios, James Gunn, Warner Brothers, they all have in their head what they believe to be what's going to make this movie successful. From reception to how much money it makes, to how the sales of the merchandise goes, to how well it does on streaming, to how well it does on sale. Like, all this stuff is encapsulated to how successful this movie is going to be in their eyes, and will determine where this goes forward and how this moves forward. It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what Lethal Geek says, what Aaron Fisher says, what Tyrone Magnus says. It doesn't matter what Sean O'Rourke says. It doesn't matter what Joe Schmo down the street says, what Donovan here says in the chat. It doesn't matter what anybody says about any of this on YouTube, down the street, on TikTok, on X. It doesn't matter because the studio knows what they want and what they're expecting. That's what matters. It's fun to talk about, and I will talk about it all day long, especially if anybody asks me about it. I've had a couple people ask me about it. Talk about it all day long, and I'll give you my thoughts and my opinions on it. But again, we know that this is an investment. Warner Brothers knows this is an investment. DC knows that this is an investment because this is the start of a new franchise, and they can't expect this movie to make $1.5 billion. So they know that, hey, we got to get people back on board and get them excited about DC again. So they know what to expect. They know what they're going into. So, yeah, there we go.